All right, family. You live with the general. You already know what time it is, man. We ain't got nothing but fire over here for you. You feel me? You gonna get nothing but fire over here. Glad to see you here. We're gonna be talking about today the two black men bystanders that took down an active mass shooter in Las Vegas. Yeah, I got that all. I got the title all messed up. But that's all right. We're gonna work it out. You feel me? In a grocery store in Las Vegas, you see, and actually killed somebody. Actually killed somebody. You feel me? And so the brother, all the way to the left, he was, was the first bystander that took to the guy, coming out of the grocery store. He let that, from my understanding, he let off about 10 or even more, because I heard him say he heard 5 shots. And then, and probably was some shots before that. So I don't know how many, but he said he had a Glock. He had a Glock, some Glock 17, had a AR-15 type of, and had extra clips, you know, extra clips. And so, he saw the guy, and both, I guess the guy had his family. A couple of guys had their families with him, and so shit, you can't, this guy get the bus, and he could kill everybody out there. So you gonna have to man up and do something with him. You're gonna have to man up and do something with him. You're gonna have to, especially if he ain't got it out right then and there, and you can get a hold to his ass, And so the first guy to the all the way to the left, he tussled with the guy and was able to, get his hands, I guess, on the weapon, but he was trying to get it out of his hands. You know what I'm saying? So I guess they was locking arms into, and for the control of the weapon. And I guess the brother say he called out for help, and the other brother behind him, which is a bigger brother, came over there and put some hands on him. They pieced his ass up real good, and they got on top of his ass and was able to keep him down, until the laws came. You know what I'm saying? But they just show you how, I mean, you can't even go to the grocery store today. You can't even go to the grocery store. So at this point in time, you're gonna have a thing on. You're gonna have to get you a license to carry. You're gonna have to keep your thing on you, man, because at this point in time, when motherfuckers get the bus, and you're gonna have to bus back. You're gonna have to bus back. That's just all it is to it. You're gonna have to take time, go and get some lessons, and go get you a license to carry, and keep your thing on you, and keep your eye. And I tell y'all, how many times I done told you? I done told y'all this 1,001 times. You see, they're gonna go to soft targets, grocery store. I told you 1,001 times. You see, and it happened that these brothers they did what was told. They knew they had to do. And I said the same thing. When you see, you're gonna have to do something. You're gonna have to do something. And that's why you got to be physical. You can't be goddamn. You got to tussle with a motherfucker. You got to tussle with a motherfucker. So you can imagine y'all. And you struggling with a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And so you got to have all that. Your hands, your wrists, your forearms and shit. You can't have nothing weak. You see what I'm saying? You can't have nothing weak. Because if there's wherever you weak at, that's where you gonna lose. Period. Wherever you weak at. You know what I'm saying? So you think about, you talking about grabbing, you know what I'm saying? You got to have that you got to have that hand strength. You see, you got to have the hand strength. If you ain't got no hand strength, you done for. You know what I'm saying? You done for. I mean, you can't even pick shit up. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, like when guys, they be working out and shit, a lot of times, they lose in their hand and they wrist and they forearms. You know, you got a lot of guys they could bench, right? They could bench and but they need a lift off a lot of time to get that shit off to get it off the rack. You know why? Because they wrists and they forearms is weak and shit. So they ain't, you know what I'm saying? So they can't get the motherfucker off the rack. But when them hands and that wrist and that forearm is strong and shit, that's, you know what I'm saying? And so you got to train for all of that, man. You see, you got to you got to train the fist. You know what I'm saying? Getting down there on that floor and doing them push-ups, if nothing else. Doing push-ups on your fist, on the wrist, on your fingertips and shit, you know, and you're doing your doing what, and a lot of times when you're doing them pull-ups and shit, that's helping your wrist too. But doing them wrist curls and shit, where you take a dumbbell and you put it on the edge or something and shit, and you do them damn forearm curls, or if you got a long bar and you just, curl up, you know what I'm saying? Get them forearms and shit, and that's some of the, when because I could imagine this guy was wrestling this guy. You feel me? He was wrestling this guy, and if you got strong ass motherfucker, you can snatch that shit out of nigga hand. You know what I'm saying? You got strong hands, forearms, and with the biceps. You see, a lot of time nigga work the biceps, they work the triceps, and but they forearms be weak. You know what I'm saying? They forearms be weak, hand strength weak. They don't work them enough and shit. You know what I'm saying? Wrist be weak. And so if you get into a tussle with a motherfucker, it's gonna show. It's gonna goddamn show that you ain't got the necessary strength. So as a soldier, man, you got to always be prepared to be in a tussle with a motherfucker. You ain't trying to be, but you want to have enough strength to be a deterrent. You don't want a motherfucker to take you down. You know what I'm saying? Got to have leg strength, man. Motherfucker to think you weak, that's the first place he gonna go. You got weak ass, you got weak ass legs and shit. That's where a nigga gonna go straight to, especially if he could scoop you and you got weak, and he see your motherfucking legs straight up and down, look like a damn, look like a little pool stick leg nigga and shit, and man, you ain't gonna have no, some people will just break your leg. Just break your leg, nigga. Just come over and just kick your knee and break your leg. You see, take you out the game with a knee kick or something. You don't want nobody to do that. You got to see and see that it's confrontation time out here, and you got to be ready. You know what I'm saying? You got to be ready on both ends. You got to be physically ready, and you got to be have that thing on you. You know what I'm saying? Both. That's what a soldier is. You can't just be and you just gonna carry and yeah, you can have the thing, but nigga be strong too. Cause a lot of times, if a motherfucker see you strong, that's deterrent. That alone is a deterrent. You know what I'm saying? Because a motherfucker if he know he ain't strong, if he know he ain't strong, he ain't just gonna step to you. Now he might shoot your ass. So that's why you got to keep your thing on you. But a lot of niggas ain't got no thing. They want, they might want. And you know what I'm saying? Motherfucker might have a knife on them too. And you don't want motherfucker to stab you. So at the minimum, nigga, you got to keep you some things on you. Some damn bear mace and shit. Get you some mace. Get you some mace. And don't get that shit. Some of them niggas can drink that shit. You know what I'm saying? Get that bear mace. Cause that shit got cayenne in that shit. That shit hit a nigga in his eyes and shit. And you had to spray all in his face. Put that shit in his mouth if you can. You know what I'm saying? Spray it in his nose. You put that shit in here and put that shit in his eye. Spray it in his nose, in his mouth, all that shit. You know what I'm saying? And then get the fuck on, or unless you want to just, but if you ain't got no skills and shit, I remember one, they used to carry them sticks. Like them, you can. It's like a baton and shit. The security motherfuckers used to have. But all you had to do was all you had to do is give it a jerk and it'll come out. You understand what I'm saying? And you can put it on a nigga. You know what I'm saying? So, and if they be small, where you could damn near put it in your pocket. You know what I'm saying? You could damn near put it in your pocket, but all you had to do is just, jerk it and the motherfucker will come out. You know what I'm saying? Then you can go upside nigga head if you need to. And he gonna let you loose. You know what I'm saying? But that's just the day and age that we're in. We're talking about self-defense and protection of your family if you need be. And so, yeah, you got to do some things to stay strong. You feel what I'm saying? And another, you calisthenics is good. Most definitely. Calisthenics is off the chain. So here's some things you could do, with the push-ups, the variations in the push-up, but you want to be able to where you could do 50 in a clip. You know what I'm saying? And more. You know what I'm saying? Because when you start doing 50, you get to a certain level. When you lock up with a nigga, listen, it's gonna show and prove. You know what I'm saying? When you lock up with a motherfucker, you got that, your body is strong, man. And the motherfucker ain't gonna be able to, do all the and get you some training. I'm not just telling you lifting weights, but you got to get you lifting, you doing calisthenics, and you training. You know what I'm saying? For self-defense. I ain't telling you to go out here and think you Bruce Lee or goddamn Bruce Lee warrior or nothing. That ain't what I'm telling you. It's about self-defense. You know what I'm saying? And you could break a motherfucker up trying to, just defending yourself. And so this is things that we had to do. Get your class. I don't give a fuck how old you is. They got something for everybody. You know what I'm saying? But most definitely get you some bear mace, put that on you. You know what I'm saying? Get you some mace, because you at least won't be able to get a motherfucker up off for you. And I guarantee you put that bear mace on his ass and you do it right. Put that shit in their eyes and put it in their nose and put that shit in their mouth and you spray their ass until, you know what I'm saying, the motherfucker dripping in that shit. That motherfucker gonna be in pain. That motherfucker ain't gonna do shit. He gonna want to get that shit out of his face. You know what I'm saying? And it's gonna take a lot to get it out of there. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna take a lot to get it out of there. But these brothers was able to wrestle the guy down. And I'm just saying this to my brothers and to the brothers, because you're supposed to be protective. Now, when you get 2-3 strong niggas, that ain't shit. It ain't nothing. Y'all like playing with a baby. You know what I'm saying? That's how y'all should be. The brothers should be not to fight each other, but if you had to come together, man, and y'all strong, ain't nothing they could do, man. There's nothing that you could do. The community is protected. But you got to make this, a part of your life where you are strong because you're not just, to be able to do shit in strength. You need to pick up stuff around the house, pick up stuff in the garage. You want to do it in strength. You want to do it with ease. You know what I'm saying? It's not a problem. You'll be able to pick up stuff and move it around, and you go and take it into your old age. You know what I'm saying? You'll be able to take it into your old age where you're stronger. A lot of people, when they get older, they get to fall in their knees and shit, and their legs get weak. You can't let that happen. You can't let that happen. You have to continue to stay, keep doing certain squats and things of that nature. You don't even need damn weight. And then you could do that one where you get on the wall. You know what I'm saying? And you get on the wall and you know what I'm saying? You go down into a squat and you just stay there and keep your back on the wall for about, I think they say about 2 minutes. Man, that shit gets you together. It gets you together. You feel what I'm saying? That's a hell of a, what they call it. It's a move that hit all fibers, get them motherfuckers popping. You know what I'm saying? And you need that. So, even doing that, putting your back on the wall and squatting down, you know what I'm saying? Get that leg strength. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to do me some tonight. When I seen shit like this, I said, oh, got to continue to stay strong. It's summertime. You know what I'm saying? You had to take a nigga arm and pull it out the socket. That's what I intend to do. You see, with no damn problem. I want to be able to, like, little toys and shit. You know how you take the little dial and just take the arm and pop it out the damn socket. That's what, you want it, that's what the kind of strength you want. You know what I'm saying? So, we commend these brothers because, this guy could have came out, families out in the parking lot, could have came out shooting up cars and killing people out there in the parking lot and shit. You know what I'm saying? And what, it could have been a lot of people killed, could have been a lot of people killed. Yeah. So yeah, that's so just make sure, if family coming in and get you a regiment. Get you a regiment. Don't get caught being weak. There's no need to do that when you can put in, man, listen here, 30 minutes a day. Soon as you get up, even if it means, just dropping down, doing 150 push-ups. You feel what I'm saying? And do 150 at night. Get you at least 300 in every day. Minimum. 300 a day will get you together. You be tight. You know what I'm saying? And try to do, try to get 50 in the clip. You know what I'm saying? At one time, that means you got endurance and strength where you could deal with a motherfucker for a minute. You don't want to do none and come back. Like, no, you want to do enough at one time. So in case you got get into it with a motherfucker, you got some minutes of high powered strength. You know what I'm saying? You want that endurance and power and shit. And so you can't you got to roll, do as many as you can, roll over for a second, then roll back over and hit them, keep hitting them till you get 150 or 200, at one time, and so if you're doing 300, you do 150, in the morning, 150 in the evening, then go up. You understand what I'm saying? And then when they get to getting too damn easy, you have to start doing some crazy push-ups. You do the diamonds and shit. Then you start raising up. I get on the on the weights and shit and put you, where you can get that dip. You know what I'm saying? You get that stretch and you get that dip. Where you go down and shit, and then you come. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You got, it's elevated, and so when you get down, you when you come all the way down, you can go down even deeper, you know what I'm saying? And that shit get all up in there, stretch that shit out. So when your shit sticking out like this, you feel what I'm saying? That's what you want. That's what you want. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, as a soldier, as a damn soldier, you know what I'm saying? So you'll be able to defend your goddamn self and your damn family. Don't play with no nigga. See what I'm saying? And see, you got to see that shit while you working out. And engaging with a motherfucker. You ain't just lifting just to say, you engaging in your mind where you need this strength at. You know what I'm saying? When you're doing your moves and you're practicing and you feel your body and shit, and you feel the muscles and shit that you use when you strike. You know what I'm saying? And you imagine if you were tussling with a motherfucker, and you tussling, you can put yourself in that dynamic and you feel the shit you need to be strong in. You feel the movement and shit. You know what I'm saying? And you find a way to duplicate that shit. You know what I'm saying? While you working out. You just ain't lifting because a nigga lifting don't mean shit. I done seen a whole lot of niggas on TV just lifting. A nigga that got skills and got that strength and skill, they do away with them niggas. So just lifting alone ain't gonna get it, but it is still better than nothing. I tell you that. Because a motherfucker that ain't working out or got no skills, you will be, which is probably the majority of niggas, you know what I'm saying? You will be able to do, you'll be able to hold yourself down with the majority of peoples out there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you'll be able to, but see yourself in a predicament. Yeah, most definitely. You envision yourself in all kind of predicaments. And and what you would need to be successful, and come out on top in that predicament. And you know what I'm saying? And again, trying, you start nigga just punching and shit and shadow boxing and shit. Is shit and everything else with your own body, nigga. You don't and as you start and if you keep doing it, you're gonna get better. You know what I'm saying? You can watch videos and shit. They'll show you a nigga and just shadow box, nigga. You know, if you ain't got no punching bag, then shadow box, nigga. Get them punches strong. You know what I'm saying? Get you know all the different punches, the uppercuts and the jabs and the crosses and all of that shit, and just start punching, and you nigga and get strong. Just shadow boxing. It's better than if you ain't got nothing. You feel what I'm saying? And make preparation, nigga, just in case. And you will thank yourself in the long run. Because most of the time, once you then reach a certain level, the physicality, the energy that you put off in the physical image of strength is gonna deter a motherfucker from fucking with you anyway. You feel what I'm saying? So we give credit to these brothers, man, for taking the shooter down. He actually killed somebody and had let off shots. At the you got to be mindful of anywhere you at. Grocery store, it don't make no damn difference. It seemed like that's the choice now. So you got to go in the grocery store damn near, like you going, damn, like you straight up going on the battlefield. Nigga going to get some radishes and some goddamn apples and shit and all of that. And motherfucker got to come out that motherfucker ducking like he on the battlefield. But anyway, family, get on over there to Patreon. We got some fire over there. It's up there right now. That's right. FBA Tales from the Big House, Trapped on the Plantation is up there right now. Also, Is Jesus the Devil? And the other one over there, From Slave Revolts to Slaves Should Vote. Go check that fire out, family. It's going to be invigorating for the mind, the revolutionary mind. What's up, family? We're in the house. Come on back.